No one's having kids. Do you know how hard you need to abuse a mammal to make them not have children?
I used to think not having kids was such a fuck you to capitalism. It felt like this sort of punk rock resistance. I was like, no, sorry, not making you any more workers. But what does that mean for us? Like, can we truly envision what we are actually refusing? Because the more I think about it, the more insidious it feels. How many people are choosing not to have kids because they've been convinced it's some sort of freedom or liberation? This video frames it as abuse, but I don't even think we know that we're being abused. Capitalism colonizes everything, the very interiors of who we are. It orients us towards desires that are almost always dictated by a market trying to sell us shit. And so what a deeply subversive form of colonization it is then to create a population that doesn't want to reproduce itself. You can be anything, as the mantra goes. Revolve your entire life around cultivating a career and an image and a brand and a fucking perfectly aesthetic.
So why you think not having kids is freedom? Well, according to Miss Independent 2988 on Instagram.
The numbers help.
It is freedom. You don't understand that because you're a man. You as a man don't have to worry about carrying an entire life inside of you for 9 months and the effects of it. You don't have to worry about the possibility of protein in the urine. You don't have to worry about the possibility of your feet growing 3 sizes. You don't have to worry about your rib cage growing 2 centimeters. You don't have to worry about the possibility of gestational diabetes and it later turning into full-blown diabetes, which means that the woman will be a diabetic for the rest of her natural life. You don't have to worry about the possibility of hemorrhoids years after giving birth. You don't have to worry about a para-vaginal birth, which is where the baby is so big that it creates another hole in addition to the hole that the baby is supposed to come out of, and then comes out of the other hole that it created. And you don't have to worry about gaining 40 to 60 plus extra pounds that never goes away. You don't have to worry about the possibility of growing fat pads in your face and hands. You don't have to worry about the possibility of your hair and teeth falling out. You don't have to worry about losing calcium just from giving birth. You don't have to worry about your blood volume increasing by 50% for 9 months. You don't have to worry about cholestasis of pregnancy. You don't have to worry about morning sickness or HG, which is just very like morning sickness that lasts the entire pregnancy. You don't have to worry about giving up your friendships, your Friday nights, your weekends, your bed, your apartment or your house, your physical, mental, emotional or psychological health being compromised. You don't have to worry about any of that. I want to interject here. As someone who had severe morning sickness, throwing up, had to go get IVs multiple times because I was so dehydrated, who had protein in my urine and got diagnosed with preeclampsia, who was so swollen I was only wearing 1 pair of Birkenstocks for 3 months straight because none of my other shoes fit, who did gain like 60 pounds, which was mostly just water retention. Like, I went through the shit. I had to be induced. The induction didn't work. I had all the things, Pitocin, epidural. It still didn't work. I had a C-section. Yes, people, like, there's real trauma from that, from not getting this birth or this easy pregnancy that you want. That all sucks. Also, we are so privileged to live in a country, despite the flaws of our medical system and how expensive it is, that most women come out the other end of all of that alive. Probably traumatized and probably emotionally, like, have big feelings about it, but alive. And that's not to invalidate all of that, but it's like, none of this means, oh, you're gonna die. It's like, oh yeah, I am heavier. I'm 30 pounds heavier than I was pre-pregnancy. And I have literally the most precious thing because of it. So I don't like the, like, oh, well, you had a healthy baby and that's what matters. Because no, like, birth itself matters, and that's a whole other thing that, like, we could get into another time of why I wanted a beautiful, magical, natural home birth. But, like, thank goodness for the medical system, because all of this stuff is not like this. Oh, you don't have to experience that. It's like, what a gift that I got to experience that, and I'm alive on the other end of it. And I have a baby sitting next to me in a little hat that says Dirty Hands Gardening Club, just taking a little nap in the sunshine. Anyways, beautiful. Like, this kind of, oh, your body's gonna be destroyed. It's like, so what? I gained 60 pounds for a little bit. Yeah, I puked my guts out for a month pretty much. Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah.
But that's like kind of what happens. Like it's not the end of the world. There are serious things, and those are scary. But like, thank goodness for the medical system. When there are scary things.
So socioanalytically, you have to also look at the symbolic capital that is paying out to people. There's an actual symbolic capital that to be won by saying the things that she's saying. There are people here to yes girl and clap them on. And the thing is you get people of privilege who are probably going to eventually get natality pilled and have their own kids applauding somebody who's in a worse situation, who's probably coming from dysfunction, who's probably got some stuff to work out, who's instead buying into an ideology that villainizes and otherizes an entire half of the species, while at the same time getting the ideology she's promulgating, that she's obviously spent a lot of time thinking about, that she's being applauded to think about, encouraged to think about by the PMC today, is one that will undermine her and that she won't be able to come back from in time once she's actually natality pilled. Whereas the people who are doing the applauding, if they do come from that relative privilege, they're going to be able to be just fine and change their mind eventually. McKerracher Family Farm, here underground.
Hello.
𝘧𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗍𝗄.
Buenos dias.
David McKerracher. What's up, people? Welcome.
Hola.
We are in the tomato fields, and
Forever.
I've actually been trying to save these ones that fall off.
What are you doing with them?
I just kind of want to take a picture of them and say good things to come on the socials. For the farm socials, so people can kind of see. Look at that. We have beautiful tomatoes coming, and well, I invited Chaffin out here to the farm so that we can record an episode not over Zoom.
Yeah.
I just thought, we could. You're far enough away that it does make it convenient. But I thought,
now we get to be out here.
Yeah, if we can be out here, this is so much
tomatoes.
Better. So much better.
Yeah.
And it helps me, helps the farm.
Yeah, which is important.
Yeah.
Local food.
And so what I'll have you do is kind of just start down this aisle from where I was, and then I'll come back and just tie over what you did, and that should give you enough time to get a pretty good head start. Then I'll come in behind you. But anyway, what we were talking about was natality and the difference between natality and pronatalism as a political movement or ideology or a way of doing advocacy. And the reason I wanted to even talk about this in the first place, obviously I've been on this castration culture thing now for a while, talking about that with people, and I've been writing about it. And Alex, at this point, you followed some of that, right? Have you read?
Yeah, I read castration culture.
And the natality pill?
Yes, and the natality pill.
Okay, you got the main two then.
I feel like there was another one that was supposed to be associated that maybe I didn't read or maybe didn't even come out, but we've talked about it.
Was it the breakup liturgy?
Oh, it could have been that. Yeah, I don't think I read that. I think I kind of perused it for a second. I was like, yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's kind of more just like castration culture critique applied.
Yeah.
And the natality pill is more like my firsthand, why I care about this, and started thinking about the liberal 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and started thinking about castration culture. And then castration culture itself is a little bit more like the professional managerial critique aspect of it. How it's, normally when I talk about the PMC, since I'm arguing with Marxists or whatever, or my own former, Marx-ish thoughts, for me, it's more just the PMC focus is often we live in a different kind of society now, and it's not just the bourgeoisie versus the proletariat. It's, this managerial, professional situation really changes organizing and what it means to be a person today. Blah, blah, blah. But that's because, in part, the advanced workers were replaced by the college educated. And the advanced workers were the people who were trusted and had the knowledge to actually do the kinds of organizing that was being done prior to the 1930s. And so that tends to be my way in. But then, you know, with the baby, with us like wanting to conceive, with us doing this birthing class, etc., I really started thinking a lot more about that book, that little tiny book by Barbara Ehrenreich about witches, midwives, nurses, you know, this whole side of like traditional women's knowledge that was essentially monopolized and criminalized and taken away from women at the beginning of the 20th century. And like that has become like one of the most interesting things for me, probably, I mean, that I've ever heard about or really ever thought about or really ever looked into. And the implications of it like go really deep. And so anyway, that was something I really built up in the castration culture stuff. And so that's all just kind of like my background gloss for the audience and just kind of giving us like some kind of shared basis going in on this. But you recently put something out and got a lot of backlash for it, which is why we were talking about this in the first place, outside of kind of the normal conversations we were already having about it. And so I don't know what you might want to say about that, but you should definitely tell people about what you've been doing with 𝘗𝘗𝗶𝗱, and then like this most recent, or this one of these recent videos that kind of stumbled its way into this conversation.
Yeah. Well, I'm Alex. Hey, everybody down there at the end of the tomatoes. Yeah, I started 𝘗𝘗𝗶𝗱, what's called 𝘗𝘗𝗶𝗱 project at it's on Instagram and TikTok, and it's basically me trying to look at burnout and consider that at a more general population-wide level, instead of just like corporate culture burnout, and applying a sort of systemic lens to it, a systemic critique or naming, as it were, which you don't like, and I can ask about that in a moment.
Just the terminology.
Just the terminology itself.
Yeah.
It's really easy to hear and be like, oh, I guess that makes sense, right? I think.
No,
I don't
go
know.
with it. Go with it.
Presumably,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna go with it at least. So the whole project was kind of influenced, well, not fully influenced, but an article actually written by Matthew Stanley, who just did the lecture on the deep state.
Today.
Two-parter so far. I think there's a third one coming out eventually.
Yeah, there's 2 more parts this month.
2 more parts this month. That's tight. So he wrote an article on rewilding the professionals, and I actually got to see him do the talk about it. The 7-minute hot window talk up at the stage here at the farm. Is it stage, or was it just a foundation for your house?
Just our little makeshift
stage.
Yeah, a little proto-agora setup.
Yeah. Beautiful. But he basically talked about how the realm of professionalism, or the PMC, as it were, is kind of detached from the laboring class and what it actually takes to be a laborer in society, and work with all of the information and the juggling that these corporate jobs tend to focus on, risk management, safety and compliance, and all of these different things that kind of have nothing to do with what the actual labor of building a thing looks like. They end up in email meetings where they're talking about things that they don't feel like they need to be a part of. Bullshit jobs, as it were, by David Graeber. And so burnout is highly, highly prolific in our society because of this, but also I think just generally, we're all burnt out from experiencing life under such economic precarity, under such atomization, individualized, isolated life. No kind of intergenerational rootedness or embeddedness or structures that have any meaning outside of the here and the now, the eternal present, especially pervasive in the kind of algorithms that we live our day-to-day lives in. So I feel like burnout is a much wider symptom of, existing in this culture. So 𝘗𝘗𝗶𝗱 is kind of an approach to help one reclaim some of these things that have been, dare I say, taken from them through capture. Capture, as I call it, is the internalization and naturalization of dominating extractive systems, more or less. I sometimes take that a little further than that, but that's okay. And figuring out how to look at burnout as not a individual failing or as like a personal symptom that you're experiencing, that so much therapeutic and wellness culture has kind of thrust upon us, but instead as a response to a system that is, you know, denaturalizing, so to speak. And then there's elements of it that have kind of been synthesized from different practices, different schools of thought, polyvagal theory being one of them, somatic experiencing being another one, ecological life design being informed by things like life design, but in the realm of melded with like permaculture design and ecological design more broadly. Temporal sovereignty, which is definitely informed by Dave's work in time energy. What else is there? Yeah.
You do. I mean, I don't know if this is so much a part of Decaptured because Decaptured's a bit more of a public, normie-friendly facing sort of project. But I know that you're also like into Žižek and Lacan and sort of you talk about circling the void with Ezra.
Yes,
on your
very
other
much.
projects and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot to it. The more public-facing realm is that. You know, nervous system reclamation. That's a hot topic right now, which we don't have to get too deep into. But
I mean, you're doing it right now by tying up tomatoes.
it's literally by tying up tomatoes in relationship, co-regulation, right?
Right.
That is one of the main.
Oh, you mean by doing it with me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Co-regulation is one of the main, you know, practices or I guess mechanisms through which we regulate our own nervous systems. It's kind of a mammalian technology. We together, like you regulate by being in relationship with another regulated person's nervous system.
Yeah, and normally, like when I have, like, I mean, normally when people come out here to do this, they're paying a lot of money, and there are people who are doing it because they're working bullshit jobs and they're soul sucking and they're burnt out. Normally, it's like a more professional thing. It's nice that it's nice to just be doing it with a friend, though.
Yeah,
and I think
absolutely.
it does work even when it's just a person who's really just kind of coming more for like the retreat side of things.
Yeah.
But it is cool to be doing it with someone I've known forever. Yeah.
Very, very, very long time. We've known one another fucking 16 years.
Oh my God.
What is it? 2000 what? 11? 10?
That's a long time, man. Was it really like then?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the peak.
Whew.
The peak of the Scene Dave.
Oh boy. Scene Dave? Scene Daves or Scene Days?
Both.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of that.
Both.
Oh boy. But yeah. So what, I put a video out on.
Yeah, oh yeah. What are we here talking about?
Well, we're actually here. Long story short, TLDR, under Decaptured, I put out a video kind of not really critiquing anything, just trying to make aware the fact that so many people who perceive not having children as a sort of freedom, as a sort of liberation, might have been sold something. And we don't need to get too deep. I mean, I guess this is Theory Underground after all, so people probably have an awareness of how desires are manufactured.
We'll go more in depth later.
All right.
Yeah.
Needless to say, the notion that not having children is freedom produces a really, really ideal subject for capitalist consumption.
Right.
It makes you perfectly not obligated to anything. You're only obligated to yourself, and therefore, so long as you're constantly in unending self in development, a project to develop, you know, be that through your career or through your personal brand or just the aesthetic of who you might be, who you might need to signal to others that you are, as social animals that have been kind of stripped of their structural capacity for sociality, we perform selves on the internet, especially in the last, decade. And so the notion that not having children is a form of freedom, is a form of liberation, it just, to me, feels like the most logical next step of the capitalist consumer. How deep into our own selves as projects can we get?
Right.
You know, the achievement subject of I am forever optimizing myself. I am forever branding myself. I am forever I don't ever have to land. I don't ever have to, and then you're in this constant precarity, which is kind of the economic conditions of today anyway, and have been for a while. Like, you don't ever have to land, and why it doesn't make sense why you would, because there is no such thing as that here in this culture. So
Yeah.
very little, at least.
You know, very convenient that it's making it makes if not having children is seen as freedom, then it makes not settling down it makes it it takes what for a lot of people is actually a necessity and turns it into a virtue. So it's like people are having trouble settling down. So then it says, and this is the move of the shock troops of capital, the cultural shock troops of capital always take the wound and say the wound is not a wound. So, you know, oh, that thing that sucks, it actually doesn't suck. Like, oh, you're being forced to sell your body. That's actually empowering. Oh, you're having trouble maintaining relationships. That's actually because you're learning how to be a self. Oh, so you aren't going to feasibly be able to settle down? Settling down is for like schmucks.
Settling down is for frickin' neoconservatives and reactionary right and all that, right?
Yeah. And so you didn't always see things this way. And in the video, you actually say that you used to, and I thought this was really interesting because it's not the normal antinatalist position. Your position, I'd say that there's two normal antinatalist positions. Yours is neither. Yours is, you know, I'm not going to give capital more labor. I'm not going to give it more little workers.
Yeah.
So you saw it as like a middle finger to that system itself. I'm curious, like, what changed? At what point did you kind of develop that idea of like that rationalization of like not having children and then like how did you change? Where did the growth or the I'll call it growth, you know, for my biases, I think it is growth, but like where did that change happen?
It like, is. That's.
Was there a natality pill for you? Is kind of what I'm asking.
It's kind of tough to say, but I think over the last couple. I mean, I fell into the Bernie Bro movement pretty damn hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, not super hard. I wasn't that active, wasn't that mobile or anything. Wasn't doing much. I was just kind of. I had opinions, I had feelings, and I had a genuine hope that, you know, change could happen.
Yeah. And that's interesting coming from someone who'd always been such a anarchist and not institutional. It's not. So I only emphasize that for people because I know a lot of people from the scene. We were all like into Bernie for our own reasons, but you being into Bernie's like, yeah, that's special. Like in the sense that it tells us something about where we were, considering the fact that you'd never really seen anyone you could vote for.
Yeah.
As
ever.
Any kind of hope.
Ever. I never believed in any of this.
Same,
and what I like about where I'm at now is that I'm kind of coming back to those roots, but in a less extreme or conspiratorial fashion, I think. But yeah, I mean, I when I went to school in San Francisco, I started it opened me up to. I was always an anarchist, and I was always critical of the state, and I didn't really put the two together that the state requires wealth to be all-powerful, all-dominating. You know, the most powerful states in history are likely the wealthiest, and I never really started to implicate capitalism in that. So that kind of ushered me towards like the consideration of, you know, somebody who's talking about, you know, class politics or capitalism as extractive or a potential, you know, socialist option, so to speak.
Sorry, just to kind of say that back to you. It's the and I think this is really important. Like a lot of people that if they're anti-state, becoming more critical of capital itself can result in being a little bit more optimistic about the state or seeing it as necessary?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think it can be. It can at least, I don't want to say delude you into thinking so, because it's, you know, there's aspects of
trade-offs.
Yeah, no, I see the state as secondary to capital, and that's not because capitalism has existed longer, but because the primary function of capital is infinite growth, is the accumulation of wealth.
Right.
And without which the state could not be mechanized to be all-powerful, all-dominating. So the state, to me, kind of became secondary, even though it was always the apparatus through which wealth maintained itself.
Okay.
So I fell into the Bernie Bro movement, and I was real hopeful for change. I kind of fell into, like, you know, the more left liberal culture, the mainstream left, progressive left, a little hard, and I think there's both benefit and not to that. But after Bernie was kicked out for the second time, was it?
Yeah.
It felt like we just went down this rabbit hole of like, oh, this is never happening. And not because Bernie necessarily got lost, but because I feel like the political substrate, the social, like what we were all trying to talk about and move towards kind of got abstracted. And it got ahead of us, and we couldn't keep, and it was just like, we weren't talking about the same thing anymore.
No, it became like it became like virtue signaling about staying home and wearing masks.
Yep.
And representational solidarity of whatever allyship or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it became really lame.
It became really identitarian, which is kind of the thing that brought me into natality in a way, critiquing identitarianism and then individualism as a whole, and like the pursuit of the individual as the highest good, as the highest aim of our society. Like I've made other videos that critique communication as passive communication, indirect communication has functioned much differently through much of human history than it does today, because we had a greater shared like substrate, a greater social fabric and understanding of one another, like, and it was more rooted, it was more obligated to one another. Insofar as like you're in community with this person, you don't just excommunicate them from your life because they crossed a boundary that may or may be legitimate, may or may not be legitimate, you know. And so I, you know, critiqued communication as like, you want the solar punk village, but you have, everything is direct I feel statements. It's all rooted in like, well, these are my boundaries, and if you cross them, then you're out of my life.
This is what I believe.
This is what I believe, and you know, and I kind of titled it provocatively like passive aggressive communication is like the thing that's gonna bring us back to the solar punk village or whatever, some shit like that. I don't remember exactly, but hello.
Yo, Anne's here.
Hi, Anne, and hi, Julian. I've never met Julian before.
Oh, we can't hear you here. I'm gonna give you my
Good, it's good to see you.
microphone, and then if we need to have me say things like words, then I will. Oh my gosh! Yeah, and, this is Julian.
I know you.
You've never
Except
met
I gotta
him.
like get settled down, so don't clip me up yet.
Are you gonna settle down where? In here?
Maybe right out the door.
It's a little warm. It's a little warm in here for sure.
At the point that you wanna read.
Some
comments.
The essay.
Some comment section.
Oh,
Anne
boy.
is Anne's gonna go get set up,
That
and
was her name. Huh?
then she's gonna. Yeah, no, it's actually. So we'll do some setup work before Anne gets to that point.
Are you able to go grab me that chair really quick that I was sitting on yesterday?
on
Where?
you.
That was in the chair, the chicken
Chair.
chicken processing area. That big folding chair.
It's made of chickens.
Yeah, I know where that is. I
You're
can
up.
get that.
You're up, buddy.
I'm up for what? Oh, I'm up to go get that.
Chicken
Yeah. All right. Well, as I go do that, I'm gonna have. Well, I'm gonna say something, and then I'll hand the mic off to Ann.
Okay.
And so, Miss Independent leaving a comment on your video about having children, not having children being seen as freedom and that being ideological. It's all too fitting, kind of, for a certain style of commentary that we receive these days. Because ever since my natality pill piece, people think of me as a pronatalist, or think of me and Ann as pronatalists. They see it as like a pronatalist turn, which is stupid, because I'm not advocating that everybody have children, but there's like this hilarious thing that happens where as soon as you say our society is like is literally against people having children, people start being like, oh, what, you think I should have kids? And so that's it.
Telling me I need to have kids.
As a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, what were you guys just talking about?
What was I doing? I was bringing him. I was doing a very long-winded approach to where I ended up, how I ended up in this natality camp.
Okay.
Yeah, and trying to talk about, like, basically how my politics brought me to a disenchantment with the dominant system.
Yeah.
And then trying to find my footing and, like, what do I actually believe in? What do I actually want? Which is, like, something that's more communitarian anyway, that's more, like, rooted and embedded in place and people and, like, lineage based and and so, like, and then thinking about how all of these options that we have under capitalism are very much rooted in just self-expression. How can you purchase your way into deeper self-expression? And how that's kind of, I'm starting to see that as just ridiculous. Like, I'm exhausted by modern culture, and I want something that outlasts a little bit better,
Can't use your phone? Ew. Sorry, we just started having a side conversation. I left my phone upstairs.
Okay.
Can't read that comment. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. It feels awesome.
Yeah.
It feels like a good place to be, even if it's, like, still unsure.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily like, I want to have kids.
Yeah.
Even though it increasingly
but it's,
feels that way.
Open to, I don't know, a more fulfilling way of life, just not like, being rooted somewhere, whether or not you have kids or your own family, just like building a community, building the village.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much talk about the village and wanting to bring that back. That's kind of like, in the left especially, it's like, we're going to build the village, we're going to build community. It's like, how are we going to do that if we're all just isolating ourselves from one another further through boundaries and through no kids and no, it's like, at a certain point, like, how much of that is doing a disservice? Like, it's great that you get to find yourself and just self-perfect into oblivion and never have to, like, just be like, all right, I'm done self-excavating, I'm done isolating, I'm done, like, excommunicating myself from other people, and then build the actual village.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave's been telling people, like, oh, how's postpartum? How's everything? And Dave's like, I'm doing the work of a village of women. And so we're very much experiencing right now that lack of village that comes when you're not. I think probably the only place that actually exists currently is, like, if you've been attending a church for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
And the people know you, and the organizers, like the handful of women who organize the meal trains and things, like, they know you and like you. That's probably where it exists right now for postpartum women, unless there's somewhere else. But it's like, yeah, we're definitely experiencing that lack of village. And for me, it's just like, whatever. I'm a realist about it. I'm not sad. Well, like, I'm sad that it's a thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, whatever. That's our reality right now. None of my friends, like, I don't know, came over and did my dishes for me in the first few weeks. My mom came up week 2 and helped power clean the house, and that was great.
Yeah.
And it's like we've had to make, like, people get us, you know, things off the registry and donate meals. And so, like, this kind of, I don't know, simulacra of a village, I think that exists. Dave and I were talking about this, how, like, text and social media kind of creates a simulacra of a village, because it's like, oh my gosh, congratulations, he's so cute, how are you?
Yeah.
As, like, a check-in, it's like, well, that feels nice.
Yeah.
But I've got laundry to put away.
Yeah.
Like,
How am I? I have so much.
I pushed myself way too hard on Thursday doing just a little bit of harvesting, to where yesterday and today, like, I'm pooped. I'm done. My body hurts, you know?
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, so that's been, like, I think the postpartum world, you definitely feel that lack of village.
Okay, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I could imagine. It's because it is simulated. It's like a lot of what our society is honing in on those things that I think are kind of, we evolved to expect, and we didn't get to receive, you know? And so they're there, like, we know that they're there. We can't erase them, but we can't really, like, actually functionally have them either, or structurally. And so it only comes off as, you know, simulated, as performative, as fake, even if it's not, even if it's like, gosh, I genuinely want to do this or do that. Like, it's still just like, I don't know how to, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's yeah. And then so it leaves people that you love and care for, that you want to actually show care for, stranded in this, like, well, good job.
Yeah. Good job. You did the hardest thing. We're so happy for you. And it's like, thank you.
Yeah. See you later.
Yeah. Good luck.
Leave you on red for the next 10 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm plenty guilty of. It's a thing.
Hi, Daisy. Dave, I feel like you probably have things to say, but you don't have a microphone.
Dave always has things to say. Don't ya? You want to come in my chest and talk about it?
Yeah, whose chest do you want to lean into?
I got a little spot for you to lay and a mic for you to speak into. Ever so softly.
Let me see that.
Because you're the one doing the work right now of this village of women. Then I'm still like, I just had this realization today. I was like, I just had major surgery like 5 weeks ago, and I'm like, I'm gonna get all the laundry done today. Like, what the heck? So, like, it puts the moms in this position where they do get burnt out, I think. And when it's like, oh, it's so hard, the newborn trenches, it's like, yeah, it's hard because you also have stuff to do. And I'm not saying, oh, people come do my stuff for me, but this is where, like, in other cultures, the mom, the new mom, goes and lives with her mother, or goes back to her family's house, or the mom and mother-in-law come and move in and just take over everything, and the mom doesn't have to lift a finger for the first few weeks. And it's like, with the C-section, I kind of was forced to not, because I was hurting and in pain and taking drugs, like, you know. Whereas a normal postpartum, like just having a vaginal birth, I think there's still, I imagine, the pain and discomfort, but there's less, so there's probably more pressure and more, I'm feeling okay, I can get back to doing some stuff. And it's like, eventually you have to, because we're adults and we have to do stuff. Yeah.
Now you have to lean to my chest.
Oh,
now
I
I've
see,
got
I
the
see.
microphone.
You never even leant into my chest.
So it's true. I never lent in on it.
Well, you've been doing Lent, though.
I did do Lent, and that kind of doing Lent is actually my little springboard here into saying that, like, I think that we won't make any real progress in the United States until performative stops being a pejorative and starts being the condition of something being good. And so, you know, I'm gonna bust your balls here only because you used it in the way that we use the word right now. So we all use the word this way, where we say performative equals fake, or like some kind of like symbolic, but it's cheap and it's not the real thing. And I think that the reason that is able to function as a sort of qualifier, as a sort of slur, as a sort of pejorative, whatever we want to say.
Slurs, okay?
Yeah. Well, the only reason that we can say that performative is bad is because there's a sort of evangelical, propositional based common sense in our society. And so basically what I'm saying is I would prefer to have people who are performative. And what we actually have are people who are not performative. What we have are true believers who aren't performative. So when the person says that they love us and they love Julian, they're so excited about Julian, and they're so excited for us as a new couple, and they really wish us well, they're not being performative, they're being genuine, they're speaking from their heart, they genuinely believe this, but there is no performance. And an actual performance would mean the fruit of the Spirit. It would mean actually following through on those propositional assertions. And so it would be like, you would say, oh, I'm so happy for you guys. And then you would be out here washing the dishes. You know, you would actually come out and like help on the farm. Now, I'm not saying that nobody has come out and helped on the farm. We have gotten help. But I guess I just wanted to say, like, in defense of the performative, we don't have enough of the performative. And this is, to me, a condemnation on myself. Because I, of course, you know, I've called things performative, but more importantly, I have not performed the village function for people who have had kids myself. And so I've got lots of friends who've had kids, and I'm always like, oh, that's great. What a cute kid. And then I actually don't come and help. And so there is this, this moment of just kind of like waking up to like, oh, how was it that my friends were going through the most intense, transformative part of their lives? And it didn't even occur to me to come and like help.
I know, it makes me want, I was telling Dave, like, now I want all my friends to have kids so I can be the villager that I didn't realize I needed. And I think if we just were living in a society where that was the norm, there wouldn't be this gap where, oh no, there wouldn't be this gap where you only realize it after you've had a baby and then retroactively go, oh, my friends who just became parents, I wasn't that for them. Like, it would be so ingrained in the society that we would all just be helping each other when there's a new baby around for the first few months of their life.
There's a new baby around, help. And also there's a lot of, you know, places that you can intersect with this. One of those I instantly think of is having a society that is less child phobic and is more like, oh, a new baby, what? I want to pick it up. Like people talk about more traditional cultures as like 30 different people hold the baby at any given time every day through like the first 5 years of their life. People are just picking it. Oh, kid, pick you up. Hey, buddy. Ah, there you go. And then the next person, it's like a a line of people that are just like, oh, kid. And we don't have that, you know. Like I am the first to admit that like there's a level of uncomfortability strictly because I'm like, I've never really spent much time, especially with like newborns, but like the first few years, like I'm just like, I don't know. Hello, and then I'm like, what do I say to you? Do you talk? Do you need what do you need? I don't know what to do. You know, it's strictly just like there's a cultural sort of notion of like, make it quiet though, keep it contained in the little bubble, and then also like we don't know what to do anyway, and then there's like the individualism of like, oh no, don't touch my kid, what are you doing? You know, and so many things.
I know, I didn't hold a newborn baby until I was like 22, I think.
Dang. Yeah.
And I had babysat throughout middle school and high school, but that was like, I don't know, 2 to 7 year olds.
Yeah.
And then my siblings who are 24, this is the first baby they've ever been around in their entire lives, is their nephew.
Yeah.
Like we're so in our little cohort, age segregated cohort groups on the one hand, and because people are either not choosing to not have kids or having kids later and later, there's like this entire generation of, on the one hand, people, you know, in our age range who have never been around a newborn baby or kids, and if they have, it's like a couple and it's their friends' kids.
Yeah.
And then also I'm realizing there's an entire generation of people who are like at the age where they should be grandparents, who are not gonna ever be grandparents.
Yeah.
And whether or not they expected it, I think there's a lot of, it's like, I don't know, I see it as a lot of more progressive leaning people just like, oh, they're fine with it because they're also, you know, still young enough that they can spend their income and do their travels, and retirement's treating them just well, like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole generation of, like my mom just turned 60. She's like one of the first out of her friend cohort and out of all of her like coworkers to be a grandma.
My, yeah.
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 And she's self-conscious about it.
Oh, really?
She doesn't want to be called grandma. She want like,
Interesting.
yeah, she can't, which is cool. That's fine. Like
Yeah.
she wants a different name, but like, and of course it's like, oh, her first baby's having a baby and she turned 60 and going through her own transformation of getting older. But yeah, I think of all of my peers from school, my siblings who are only a couple years younger than me, I cannot name a single one that has had a baby. I am the first.
Wild.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I feel like I know very few similarly, and a lot of them are leaning in on that feeling of like, I didn't ask to be here. Why would I do that? Or like, I didn't.
The world's
I
so
don't
terrible.
The world's so terrible. Therefore,
Can't
we
bring
shouldn't.
new life
or like,
into it. Yeah.
I don't want to ruin my body. That's like, I feel like that like almost mirrors the sentiment of not wanting to be called grandma in a more general sense, maybe, of just like, I want to be young forever, or like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
The
so much.
ruining the body sentiment, or like there's been a couple, I've seen some commentary videos showing like different TikToks and things that have gone viral about women being like, if you're choosing to get pregnant, that's like body horror. Like you must hate yourself. That's torture. Like what the?
Whoa.
Like, geez, Louise.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's such a, and I think from certain lenses, like the human body has been made to be so grotesque to us, like we're so disembodied, and so considering something so like natural functions of the body, just the most, you know, natural aspect of, like, this is how you're here.
Yeah.
It's just like, nope, body things, gross, ew, ewy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't possibly imagine doing that to our bodies, because
And
not
then you
only
gotta
are we so
preserve
detached from them.
the youth, and then you've got 18-year-old girls get, like I had 18-year-old college students when I was an adjunct
Yeah.
with Botox and lip filler, and I'm like, bless your heart. You're the standard that the older people are trying to look like, and now you're doing it to yourself. Like
8-year-olds doing skincare product reviews on TikTok.
I know, yeah.
Like, what? It's
I think in the castration culture Substack post, the one where I really realized I want to write a book about the topic, I talked a little bit about The Substance, the movie, where, you know, you've got an actress getting older, and now she's offered this new scientific sort of drug-based opportunity to stay looking young. It does become some kind of like body horror. It does become like this really great like way of thinking about consumer capitalism and how it kind of brackets out aging. It doesn't really focus on how it brackets out actual childhood though. And that's the other half, is like it brackets out, you know, consumer capitalism brackets both birth and death. And it erases both of these essential periods of human dependence. And it really kind of focuses on us like we are independent rational animals. And I'm really into this Alistair McIntyre book called Dependent Rational Animals, where he's arguing against Aristotle and saying, you know, no, this idea of being a independent rational animal is pure ideology, and that the most human thing about us is that for the overwhelming majority of our lives, at the most crucial points of our lives, we're dependent. And even outside of like even outside of birth and death, you know, and getting older, and also, you know, the fact that some of us are disabled, Outside of that is just the fact that any one of us could be disabled at any moment. Something could happen to you or me right now that makes us dependent on everyone else for the rest of our lives. And that is something essential about us, about being human, that just gets bracketed out of the sort of pure cohort image of the good life that we get sold on. And so like this image of the good life, I want to bring it back to where before you got here, someone were saying about this reel from Alex, and then I'll hand this back to Alex so he can say a few more things about the reel before we get into the comment section.
Yeah.
It's just he's talking about how we're sold this idea that not having children is freedom, and at the exact same time, it's really difficult to have children for a lot of reasons. Political, economic ones are reasons, but also actual cultural reasons are reasons. And so this is why I do take the castration culture approach, is because the cost of housing is a big part of it. But what we have are the shock troops of cultural capital coming along and saying, oh, the wound is not a wound, actually. It's your freedom. And so when you have this coming from the actors, the sort of celebrities, big podcast hosts, college classrooms, when this is the dominant cultural ideology, it makes it harder to actually talk about that aspect of it that is economic. Because, like, that is where everybody wants to take it. They go, oh, well, it's actually really hard. Oh, well, it's actually really hard to have kids. It's so expensive. And so you were getting some of that pushback in the comment section, but you got a lot of different kinds of comments in the comment section. And I think that that comment section is a sort of microcosm into this sort of reactive tendency that we're seeing on the internet that we run into that we didn't really expect when we started talking about these things. And so I want to hear from both of you about that comment section and the kinds of comments that we're receiving and your guys' thoughts about that. And I'll have plenty more to say later, but I want to hear you both go off for a while on that.
We're not gonna cut this part out, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, dude, it's so much easier, I bet, not editing. Man, I hate editing, turns out. Sorry for everybody, but
Oh no.
that was really excited about my editing style, which I'm sure is not many. But boy, is it stupid. Oh, is it capture in and of itself. Anyway, what are we talking about?
Comments on that video.
Oh yeah, and maybe you should go off about the comments, not the crazy one, but just the one about the economics of it and how that's a thing that people say.
Yeah. I think when you bring up this like cultural, you say, oh, people aren't having kids, here's some reasons why, isn't that sad? People who are choosing not to have kids feel like they need to go on the defense and rationalize their choice to you, or, you know, go, well, but actually this. Oh, but actually, but the economic reasons. Oh, no, Julian. What do you have to say about that? He says he's just hungry. He has no thoughts, just hunger. Yeah, and so there was a lot of that. There was also, like, in every time Dave does some video that, points to, or will read an essay that points to, oh, people aren't having kids, or we're an anti-kid culture. Oh, no. People, they just want to come in and, like, rationalize, maybe as a cope, maybe because secretly they want kids and they feel bad that they can't, so they need to be like, oh, who are you to tell me that I should do it anyway? Like, they take it as a personal attack.
Yeah.
But I'll let you go off because I got a crying baby.
That's okay. It does make me wonder when you say that, like, the people who might want kids, but instead it's almost like they feel like it's a duty to the ideology that they decided they need to be a part of and ameliorate. That it's like, no, I can't want kids because it's contributing to climate change, or it's depleting resources, or it's doing so many things that, like, me as an individual am not allowed to do because, you know, it would be frowned upon, or it would be culturally
No ethical consumerism under capitalism. Oh, until we're talking about babies.
And then there's the one I see a lot is how can you say I should have babies and keep another human alive when I'm barely surviving myself? And it's like, that's a very valid critique. Housing is simply not affordable. Everything, food, diapers, like all of that, it costs more than it did compared to how much money we're all making. At the same time, on the one hand, the whole baby industry makes it seem like kids are way more expensive and difficult than they actually are. And that's a whole other thing we could go off on later that Dave and I have talked about before. And at the same time, the people that I see just living their dank lifestyles, totally no kids on the radar, are college educated people working, 23, 24-year-olds who already have great high-paying jobs, who go on European vacations 2 times a year. And it's like, you probably could afford a kid. These people, the very people who... So for someone who's working 3 jobs, minimum wage, living in a shitty apartment in a sketchy part of town, I get it. That's really hard. But it's the people who are on this upward trajectory PMC track, coming from PMC parents or from well-off families whose parents will pay for their college or their weddings or whatever. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a valid excuse for you, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do understand it from the economic lens of just or not even necessarily economic, but just social and I guess the beliefs that I'm coming to realize that I have in raising kids and in stewardship, is that I think about having kids in this and in the potential of being well, I have a suburban house or an apartment with this other person, and it's just me and her, and we're struggling. But in the sense of, well, what if I make it, that's a real popular notion. What if you're, what if it all works out? And it's okay, cool. I have the compound, I have the land, I have the I'm at least building towards that, building the actual material conditions for that. And then it's yeah, I definitely want kids in that. Why wouldn't I? But yeah, so the economic argument is real. And a lot of these arguments are real, and some of them, but as you say, they're these conditions are what they are, and they feel insurmountable. And it's well, you're not critiquing, you're not coming at it from a place of I can't have kids, or you're coming at it from a place of I can't have kids, but not at a place of well, I can't do anything. The whole structure that exists right now is kind of against me. And so it's it's not really about the kids anymore. That's just kind of one extension of a really big part of it, but one extension of. But then there are other I got on my TikTok, there were kind of different comments, kind of the same ones, but one of them in particular, I felt very, and I want to say it lightly because I don't mean to speak ill or incriminate or anything, but there was one person said something about killing the maternal instinct within them as a result of their healing. And so they had to do that in order to heal. And
that's so sad.
Yeah, it's a very unsettling thing to it's what happened, and maybe what happened was very legitimate, and you needed something there, but on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's I'm very critical of the therapeutic industrial complex, and in the same way, the wound is now a benefit that can be filled with a product, or with an identity, with a stance, an ideology. The wound is my empowerment. Yeah, and so it's how much of that might ripple in the greater lexicon, talk about like having kids, and how legitimate is that frame in that sense? Like, is it like, it's like the hyper boundary maximalism of you know, therapy speak in our culture of isolation and individuals and like the self as the forever project. And it's like, you had to kill your maternal instinct, and I assume a connection with your matrilineage to do that. Did you have to, or like did a therapist tell you like, no, yeah, you got to excommunicate them from your life? Right. And why? Like what, there's something rich there that like it probably deserves delving into.
Right, and like whether or not you want to have kids or not, there's also just a cutting off from like kind of a biological reality there a little bit. Like this, saying this sounds so reactionary these days, but it's like, okay, cool, if you're a girl or a woman and you have a maternal instinct, that's pretty cool. Like, use it to take care of your friends. Use it to be the villager. Mm-hmm. You don't have to cut yourself off from that entirely just because you're not going to have kids.
Yeah.
In the same way, like, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that we're doing in our culture and society that just totally removes us from any sort of, like, reality about the bodies that we're born with, the instincts that we're born with, to where it's just no big deal. I'll just take this drug, just take this hormonal contraception, just do that, like with no thought put into it. It's just what we do.
Yeah.
There's no thought about what that actually does to us. Again, whether or not you're a parent, whether or not you're ever going to have kids, we're just so quick to cut ourselves off from our bodies or from these instincts.
Yeah, it's a very immediate, and that I think too. I think about about capitalism and consumer culture as like a kind of OCD, like a compulsion loop. That's like you're constantly trying to salve over this experience of being in the world with something that promises that it will, fix that experience, the confronting of the real, if you will, or lack, as kind of the condition of human experience. And like what so much of this culture has done is turn the condition of human experience, which can be so beautiful, like grief and suffering and fracture and the void, whatever we want to call it, and turn it into something that can be fixed, right? And in the same way that anxiety perpetuates more of itself by trying to solve itself, that's happening through like this compulsive consumer fucking mentality of like, oh, just buy this thing, it'll help, it'll fix it, and it never gets fixed, it only gets worse. And that, hey.
No, this makes me think of here, let's see. There's a magnet, but then it also just clips. So we'll just use the clip on the.
Oh, you just don't like the magnet anymore?
Easy, give me the ball.
It's just easier.
For those
Hear that, guys?
listening,
It's just
trying
easier.
to solicit the ball from our dog.
I'm not. He
heard that ICP song. He's like, yeah, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm done with magnets. No, they're right though. How do they work? All right, guys. So on this note about like killing the maternal instinct, that is literally what capital does. It's also obviously what the war machine does. And so wherever there has been a civilization, there's always been the need to preserve that civilization from invasion and to be able to like help increase the situation for those who belong to that civilization. And so that can be taken a lot of different ways. Obviously, it can result in like, you have a standing military, you have people whose entire lives revolves around conquest. That can be bad, obviously. Well, it's especially bad when there is no counter to it. When the religion is itself 100% in on it. If the religion is itself a religion of warfare and glorification of violence, like that's worse. And so like, I think a lot about like what's a pro-civ culture that doesn't just give into those aspects of it that are the worst. So like, for instance, a better way of saying that is like, what's a pro-civ ideology and culture that is able to preserve itself, defend itself, keep invaders from coming in and like raping and pillaging everything and everyone, and at the same time still nurture our higher human capacities, our ability to live lives of virtue. And one of the things is there like an organization of religious and civic life that cultivates compassion and cultivates nurture and social constructions, we might think of it as social constructions. Are there social constructions that better work with our incomplete nature, while allowing us to both survive and, in the sense of like, thrive along the lines of not just conquest and the will to power and the will to pleasure, but also like sacrifice for those who are obviously dependent, the young, the old, the disabled. That's the maternal instinct. And it's something that men can be completely cut off from very, very easily. Very, 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 very easily men can be cut off from it. It takes a lot of work to get to a point of civilizational development where the men are not constantly thinking about survival and are actually able to really cultivate that. And so like Christianity is an example of a religion that is about cultivating compassion. Not every religion's about cultivating compassion, all right? Buddhism, yeah, there's a kind of compassion there. And, I have friends who will say, the truest route to compassion is being able to see that we all share this like nothingness and all this kind of stuff. I think that's boring and not really, it doesn't do anything for me. And I just think, okay, there are certain religions that are more capable of getting us to sacrifice to actually help suffering people. And I think that a religion that says, oh, well, actually just life is suffering and that the avoidance of suffering just creates more suffering and you just got to get over the fact that you have a self because it's not really real anyway, becomes like this supreme form of gaslighting that's really convenient for those who are focused on the acquisition of power or pleasure, right? And so it's like, okay, well, Christianity might not be the grand solution anymore. I'm agnostic on this front. But the point is that there are certain cultures and ideologies and organizations of religious experience more prone towards the maternal instinct, and actually teaching men to respect it. Even if you're a warrior, you can at least respect compassion if you take your Christian culture seriously, right? You might be an actual, a warrior, and it's not a huge part of your life, but the Mother Mary is like this symbol that you're still taught, and you go, oh yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, or
that
in the sake of like the Catholic, or in case of the Catholic Church, the Mother Mary is like one of their most important figures.
Right.
Like people when I go, oh, Catholicism, they're sexist, they hate women, blah, blah, blah. It's like they worship a mother. There are prayers just to Mother Mary. Like.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and to a fault, if you're a Protestant, right? Protestants think that it's like a heresy, it's idol worship, it's idolatry, whatever. But it's like, what I'm trying to say is that Jesus is, as far as like a figure, he's extremely in touch with the maternal instinct. And that's something that runs contrary to capital and also state power. And so you have a person over here saying that it's a radical form of practice to kill the mother inside. The exact opposite of like everything that you would want if you wanted to live in a society that's not just about the acquisition of power and pleasure.
Yeah.
Like anything that could make us more than just power or pleasure-seeking creatures, anything that could make us more compassionate and sacrificing for others, we have to kill that for radical reasons. It's like, that is a perfect example of what I mean by the rebel priest class functioning as capital's shock troops of castration culture. Like that is the essence of what I'm talking about there. Yeah.
Shoot.
Dude, I bought 2 sets of these microphones in the hopes that they would all sync up together, and then they didn't. And now they just create an echo if we actually use them. Yeah.
On down the drain.
No, it's actually good to have 2 pairs because different. One with the field kit, one with the studio, but
Dirty
still,
one. The dirty kit.
What I wouldn't do to
get a
have
dirt
them all
kit for
sync
sure.
up,
I like a dirt kit.
Just, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a like, they didn't think about that one, did they? Like what? Only
Did they
2
not
people?
sell a 4 kit?
I've never seen them. Yeah, which I guess when I was looking, I wasn't really looking for a 4 kit. I was looking for State of Things stuff.
Yeah.
Which is just a 2-fer at this point. But Or, you know, I have plenty of microphones that are stationary.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But, yeah, no, I never saw a 4-kit when I was looking. Which usually I'm the type of person, thanks to capitalism, when I see the bigger and better thing, I'll just buy that one.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, like get 4 of them? I don't need it, but like,
4 is even better than
I should have 4, right?
Yeah.
Just in case. I have to be prepared for anything. If I'm spending $300, I might as well spend $450.
Hey.
God, I have a problem. Anyway. Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about that. The killing the maternal instinct as like the very thing that power and domination require to survive.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Or at least to thrive unchecked.
Yeah.
Talking about the check to power and
Because so much of what like I came up believing was the solution, not came up believing, but like I remember Ezra and I getting into these conversations when I was kind of like deconstructing or falling out of all of this, and he was like, the only way is violent revolution, isn't it? And I'm like, I don't think so. He's like, and then he was talking about the might is right kind of, and I was like, no, that's not quite it either. And he is also, you know, deconstructed from that. But just this, like, how possibly are you going to come up against a culture of supreme domination, if not with like opposing it with something real, like other than just more domination? You can't do that. So killing the maternal instinct, when I receive that, like a comment like that, the way I filter that is like, okay, so maybe either like it was a literal component of like your mother was, you know, there was a lot of trauma associated with your mother, or that line, and so therefore you had to kill the maternal instinct. Or there's like maybe a mothering component of her that's too she doesn't know how to get rid of, you know, like a people pleasing component, you know, or like I'm not assertive, or like I can't, you know, take care of me, I can't look out for me because I'm stuck in this. And it's like that just doesn't feel like the solution, though, you know.
Yeah.
A different sort of empowerment, I feel like, is probably going to help. And it's like, you know, I can't speak to that experience, especially as a man, as we'll get into these comments. I'm not allowed, but you know, like when I hear that, it feels like something like that, and it's hard to hear, and it's not to devalue her experience, but it is to say like it doesn't sit right.
It feels sad to me, like for anyone to feel like they had to do that.
Yeah.
It's
like I wonder what it was that ushered that, and I'll never know, and you know, probably because of the terms, we'll never be able to have a constructive dialogue about it. Maybe not.
Yeah.
But, and it's also, you know, on TikTok.
Yeah.
So
There's
how
that.
much of that? That's a very interesting place, by the way.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I got off TikTok 2020. I said, no, I don't need this.
I didn't even like 2020. You got off TikTok in 2020. I didn't even like consider it like valid until the last few years. I was like, oh, I guess TikTok's really a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and yeah. I mean, I remember like people talking about it, but I think by then I was like, I don't care. Because it was around since what, 2017? 18?
Yeah, 6, 7.
That's kind of like when it started.
Yeah. Because didn't it come from Vine? Like, or after Vine? Like,
yeah,
Vine
it was kind of
ended,
like
and then
the
it was.
response to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because it was very much, because it started as just like 10 seconds or something, right? Or
Yeah, just like little dance
real quick
videos.
And I was like, well, I'm never going to be that. I'm way too old, I guess.
But now every platform is TikTok, like in a sense, because every platform has the reels and the short form videos.
Oh yeah, it's wild. It feels alarming in a way. I don't know. I don't feel like I do well in those realms, and I have a lot of criticism, especially, you know, generationally, and you know, younger people existing in those places. But like it does seem like it's a dominant form of culture now. Even now, people talking about. I've heard a lot of content creators recently talk about how TikTok is or not just TikTok, but just in general, the content that's performing really well is really like seemingly unscripted, very authentic, very even fly on the wall, like just like stuff that's like that seems like I'm a real person, and it's like, oh, your personality, your authenticity. It's less about like, oh, this cool curated video that you made, that you edited, that you put all these screenshots and whatnot, like all these fun, like it's just kind of like an authenticity thing. And I don't think it's like fully that, but that's one of the things that are performing really well. Yap content, for example.
Is it like people talking about their feelings, their day, products? Like what is the content? As
far as I understand, I think it varies drastically. It's just like the setup, the performative aspect of the content, or like the aesthetic of it is very much like, are you like scripting it? Are you talking to the camera in a certain way and like doing cuts and quick, clever little tricks to trick the algorithm? Or are you just looking like you just posted this up? I got to get this out right now. I got to tell you something. That very authentic, because that's, you know, that's something that people are experiencing a significant lack of. But to me, I worry about like, okay, all of our content is going to turn hyper authentic. And what is that going to mean? Like, not that it's necessarily a psyop, but what does that mean for content that like all of a sudden your entire persona becomes this authentic thing, and you're greater, and then all of a sudden you get, you know, privileged by the algorithm by blowing up a viral video, and it's like, how do I replicate that authenticity? And then of course the copy of a copy sort of thing, you know. My authenticity becomes a very far off form of authenticity that further severs you from what is my actual authenticity.
Prophilicity, if you're familiar with that term.
I've heard that term.
What is it? Hans-Georg Müller wrote a book called Prophilicity.
Okay.
Where he talks about
your profile.
Your profile and you, about prophilicity. And basically how we've kind of moved for like eras of, or the type of identity formation that existed in different eras of our history. And let's see if I can even remember the first few. Dave, do you remember?
Sincerity, authenticity, prophilicity.
Okay, yeah, sincerity, authenticity, prophilicity. So sincerity being like, oh, kind of the social role that you have, mother, father, or like whatever role you play in your society. Oh, I'm this person, I'm that person. Like, you take that very seriously. So, you know, there was a time when, people took just these roles that they were given, and that was their identity. Shift to this authenticity. It's like, okay, but who do I feel like I am on the inside? Who am I, though? Was this really me? Do I really feel like this? And kind of that like internal assessment of your identity. Now shifted to prophilicity, where your identity formation is so attached to like an external gaze, a profile, whether or not you even have the profiles or not. It's like our identity formation is so connected now to your profile, how people are going to perceive you.
Okay. That's very interesting. Yeah, because even if you're somebody who's like, I'm not on social media, that profile, it's not about that.
That is saying something about,
it's like,
your identity.
Precisely. It's inherent within.
Yeah.
And then it's further like, you know, and it's still in other aspects of our culture. It's like, well, I am an architect or something. Like I am, you know, my career, and so my skill set. And so I'm always thinking of in terms of like, how can I skill sheet or like, you know, prepare. I have something prepared that I give to people in this social situation or that one. Even in normal social situations, it's so uncomfortable because it's very much just like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I work at a brewery.
Yeah.
You know, I don't, you know, it's like, that's interesting to think about. I think that internal excavation of the self, I think about, like as an artist, I think I've somewhat come to this point of not thinking that like self-expression as your art is bad, but just being aware of the fact that like I'm seeing so many people in the millennial age group like reclaiming themselves through their art or through their kind of like, I'm sober now, I'm getting fit, I'm I'm going all in on my art, and you know, and further excavating the self through their art, as if that is like, A, the highest aim is to know the self, and B, that they have to do so through their art, which of course then they perform or give or place or try to get famous on TikTok.
Yeah,
off of.
this emphasis on self-exploration, self-discovery. It's like I have a person in my life who is stuck in a loop of like getting into a relationship because they like a person, and then at some point there's like, oh, this person is great, we're having a good time, even sometimes like I love this person, but I still feel like I have to go be alone, and there's so many things to discover on my own. And so at this point they've been in like a pretty long-term, few years, like 3 years now relationship.
Okay.
And the person was just like, hey, I want to build a life with you.
Yeah.
And they're like, I love this person, but I want to move, I want to travel, I want to discover myself still. There's so many people to meet, so many things I can do alone, like.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why doing it alone though? Like what is it for you? Like I genuinely want to know, what is the benefit of being on your own versus doing all that with another person or, with a community or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, that's
because
the
you can
thing
still
right
do
now
that
young people are going through.
Yeah. Because you can still do all that stuff with a person, you still travel. It's not like you have to you want to build a life together, and you could do that when you go to Hong Kong or whatever you're doing, It's doable. And I think there's a part of me that thinks about, I was talking with Ezra about when either of us respectively first saw the movie Into the Wild or read the book, and thinking about and considering that solo initiatory experience of what am I made of. I think that traditionally there's a lot of that in, at least for men, and a big part of men's work is that initiatory experience being lost in modern society. And, that kind of going out and doing a 3-day, 5-day wilderness solo fast or something like that. And that whole, I want to be alone and I want to test myself and I want that. So there's part of me that wonders if part of what people in that place are experiencing is that container that culture never gave them.
Yeah.
But also on the inverse, more than likely, it's just it's a culture that's sells you that well, if you settle down, if you stop, if you don't, if you build with somebody, then opportunities are lost. It's the fig tree parable of it's all there, and so I'm just gonna look at all of it until they rot away.
Recording a podcast over here, just so you know. In HH3. Roger.
Go. In other news, there's a ladybug crawling on my foot, and it really tickles. And I want it. I'm cool, ladybug, do your thing. Oh, there we go.
But also,
thanks, ladybug.
But also, you tickle.
Also, that was ticklish.
I saw this cute video of a baby, and just covered in whomever creator just videos their baby covered in different bugs in different settings and different in their yard, wherever it is, I don't know. And it was this cute video. I was like, I have no idea where this is going. And I said something about bugs. I don't want to I would rather live in a world with bugs than without bugs, basically was the message. But it was nice and cute and clever because it was uncomfortable. It's oh, you got to get the bug off of your baby. But it's no, that's fine, actually,
Baby
probably.
doesn't care, yeah.
But I think about that, I'm oh, no bugs.
Most of the bugs are fine.
Yeah.
Especially if you work out in a garden.
You get used to it.
You realize...
Which
these are
bugs
fine.
are your
I'm
friend?
even I'll see these big old garden spiders that are this big. I used to not even be able to exist in the same room as a spider. I would go, spider? And I'm screaming, crying, leaving. And then one day, it was sometime in 2020, I was a little bit high.
That'll help.
And I had just been listening to a podcast episode
Okay.
by this creator, what was her name, 𝗏𝗏𝗄𝗏 or something. She was a lefty vegan.
Okay.
And she was talking about her reasons for being vegan, and I was still vegan at the time. But she was like, animals are just our comrades, if you think about it. And so I'm high, and I'm That's so deep. That's so
yeah.
true. This spider's not trying to hurt me. It's just trying to exist. It's my comrade. It's just my friend.
That's
And
precious.
so I saw a spider on the wall, and just like that night, like something inside me, a flip switched, and I was like, oh, I'm not scared of you. Because I couldn't even put a cup
you
over
couldn't
it.
save it. It was just,
No, it was like someone else had to deal with it.
Yeah.
Now it's like I'll see a in the farm, and like I don't love them on me. It's like we can exist in separate
yeah,
spaces.
we can coexist.
But I don't care.
I'm still in that. We can coexist, but if you end up on me, I'm probably gonna be like, no.
Yeah, no, same.
Yeah. But I heard something recently. I don't know how true it is. It's on spiders being our comrades, maybe. Is that apparently when spiders run at you, they're actually seeking you for safety.
Huh.
Which just, I don't know how true it is. It could just be somebody saying something to make me feel a thing, but boy, did I feel a thing. It's like, oh, that is my angel baby spiders. I want to protect you.
Yeah, so just think, oh, they catch all the bad bugs.
Yeah. Yeah,
We've
they're
even,
they're our
like
friends.
spiders are cool.
They're
We've got
doing good
praying
things.
mantises out here. Those are, you shouldn't get near them. I think they can bite you pretty hard.
Praying
But like,
mantises.
they're cool.
They're really cool when you look at them.
They're super cool, yeah.
But yeah, they're also like,
Howdy.
hey, buddy. Yeah, how we doing? Good to see you.
You ever heard of a wolf spider?
I have. I used to have them all the time in my bathroom in the Santa Cruz Mountains where I lived. Once upon a time, my dad would. I don't know if he'd kill them or he got rid of them, but either way,
Hi.
I didn't.
They don't spin webs.
They don't spin webs?
Well, they do it to have their young, but not
Okay.
to catch their prey. They
Interesting.
run them down. And when they see you, and
Cool.
they run at you,
Yeah.
they're after you.
So that spider isn't
That's a
looking
different
for
spider.
safety.
So it's hard to generalize. You just
Yeah.
can't just say spider.
Yeah.
You can't say. Yeah. That's a very. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's a good point to make because there are those spiders that you don't even let them get on you.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are wolf spiders like venomous?
They'll bite. I don't think that they inject poison.
Okay.
But you can get a spider
Okay,
bite.
and it'll be like, that sucks.
Only if
Yeah.
they're if they caught you, they go, wait, this is too big. I'm out here.
Oh yeah. I don't have. This is
That's
a.
funny.
Yeah. Disproportionate.
I have to drive by here with the tractor or something. It's going to be loud. Should I? How should I do this?
Don't worry about it. Just go.
Yeah, just don't worry about it. We'll be good. We've got microphones like right on our bodies, so.
Yeah. We're not doing cuts though. Turns out.
I might cut the last
Nope.
half hour. I'm starting to wonder if I
What?
want the bug discourse in here.
You don't like bugs?
Love bugs.
You just anti-bug now? Talking about kids, and bugs could kind of be our kids
There you
as
go.
an extension of comrade.
Well, we could shift gears. While I got a sleeping baby on me, I can read this comment now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get on to that. Yeah.
Don't cut the bug discourse. People gotta know. Spiders are just our comrades, Dave.
I'm really bad with direction, like with structure, without structure.
Let me
If that
comment on
helps.
this.
If that. You want to say something about the bugs?
Is this actually on? Okay, it's on.
I've never actually said anything about the animals are our comrades thing, but I kind of, it's like if the word comrade just meant friend, it's obviously not true because most animals are not capable of anything that is like, recognizable as friendship because they don't show up for you, care for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's arguable that cats are even friends, even though I do think that they can be. Dogs are obviously quite capable of being friends, but then most animals are not capable of being friends. Like try to be friends with a moose, okay? And then it's just not going to happen. Or a caterpillar, it's just not going to happen. They don't have the capacity. But then it's like comradeship goes beyond friendship in the sense that you're in a common struggle and you're able to support each other in that struggle. So the fact that 𝗵𝗲𝗄, a big, Canadian leftist content creator, was able to say that stuff unironically, I think it kind of just, hey, dude, you're cutting the wrong ones there.
What?
It's the one in the middle.
There was the one in the middle.
No, that's the wrong one.
This is the main stem, this is the middle, this is that.
Nope.
What do you mean?
Oh,
Am I
hold.
wrong?
Yeah, so
Which one's the middle one? Here.
this is the stem.
Okay.
and this one's on the outside. You get the one on the inside. Yeah.
So I was looking at it.
This is correct.
Okay.
This is correct. This is correct.
Okay.
Most of the ones you're doing are correct.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That would have been bad if I realized, like.
That out.
Yeah, we'll definitely cut that
Don't
out.
let anybody think I'm bad at tomatoes.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Anyway, but I just think that, like, the word comrade meant something for people who were in a very obvious, like, united struggle. And that since then, as it has become increasingly abstract, and now, you know, Mexie's trying to be like the intersectional, you know, white girl queen. I think it becomes really easy to just be like, oh, but we're all comrades.
Hold on.
Yep. Oh, here's the microphone for you.
Which one here, though? Between these two, betwixt.
The middle.
The middle.
No.
The middle. See,
Yeah, that's
what I
middle.
thought. Okay, that's what I thought at first, but then I got scared, man.
Everybody, if you ever want to learn how to do tomatoes
Ask
the
me.
right way, ask Alex Chaffin, because he's getting it figured out right now.
This is where we learn. Where we fail is where we learn.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, no, there's so much I can say about tying up tomatoes and learning to prune them, and it's just a fascinating journey, guys. But for now, we're about to turn to the comment section. So I want to say a couple things before we do that. First of all, I want to say that bringing it all the way back to the killing the maternal instinct, I want to say that the nuns and monks and eunuchs
Ew.
in ancient society used to be seen as people who had made an incredible sacrifice. And whether we're talking about the fatherhood of the priest or the motherhood of the nun, you weren't killing the maternal or patriarchal like function. You were, instead of focusing on its literal side biologically and culturally, you were instead just focusing on turning those energies towards spirit. And so, like, you had people who didn't want to reproduce, or reproducing wasn't their number one goal, but then they served everyone else who was reproducing. And now what you have are individual consumer narcissists virtue hoarding their consumer decision to not reproduce and holding that over the heads of the people that they in tradition would have been serving. So that's the crazy thing, and that's one of the things that I'll be getting into in my Rebel Priest class piece, which is coming out, I don't know, in a couple weeks or something.
Which in so many words is what I said on the video.
Yeah.
Almost exactly. No, I'm kidding. I didn't really speak to that. I reflected a little piece of it.
Yeah.
Fractals. Life is fractals, remember? Yeah. Anyhow.
So anyway, on that video, is there anything else that we didn't say about that video? It's very short.
It's a very short, go find, it's on at 𝗏𝗃𝗏𝗃.project. You'll see it says, why you think not having kids is freedom. That's what it says in yellow. I like yellow.
Anne is pulling it up.
Oh,
So
yeah,
you can find it there. You'll find the whole argument, and you'll find that all of the comments almost exclusively say nothing about what I said.
Correct.
That's basically, if we could sum up the last hour or so, that's it.
Yeah, we seem to have hit a nerve.
What?
We seem to have hit a nerve.
Within the populace. I see. I was like, with whom? I wonder. But now I understand.
It's not a nerve that
Pero
I
entiendo.
existed to that extent.
Oh, shoot. I saved it. It was just the stick, actually. Don't worry. A little bamboo. What would you say? Before you were terrified that I had destroyed the tomatoes?
Setting the baby down because we
Now
were
I'm
both
just here.
overheating right here.
Cutting tomatoes.
Yeah, just it's not a nerve that I thought existed. And so while Ann gets set up, I'm just going to say a couple things about how the reason I reject the term pro-natalist is actually for the same reason I reject the term cis. I do not believe the professional managerial class should be creating categories for normal people. Like healthy and well-adjusted people do not need categories, especially not ones that carry a negative connotation. And there's definitely a stigma that comes with the word cis. But there's not a huge negative connotation, I think, that comes with pronatalist, because nobody thinks about what that even means. Nobody thinks about pronatalism. Pronatalism is not like a thing. Nobody's out here talking about, oh, the pronatalist this, the pronatalist that, right?
I don't necessarily think that people are talking like that, but I think that if someone were to say pronatalist, they'd instantly think Handmaid's Tale. You know, like it's really easy to associate the two. Like all you have to do is say that, and there's probably going to be, you know, just in the, when I think about the cultural discourse, probably a notion of like, well, yeah, men are telling us that we need to repopulate and be in the home and this and that. And that's pronatalism, essentially.
Gotcha.
You know, I feel like that's probably going to be the association. They don't know it at the time because they're disparate. Yeah. But then all of a sudden they become associated simply by familiarity.
And I think that the like Peter Thiel and Malcolm and Simone Collins and like a lot of the right-wing tech types of pronatalists who are literally doing pronatalist propaganda, like they see the birth decline as a real issue in the first world, and they want to do stuff about that. They want people to have as many babies as possible. They want to grow babies in test tubes if need be, like cloning and IVF, like they're super for it. Like that is like also something I think of, and I think from the progressive standpoint, it is very Handmaid's Tale. But the point is like, well, I've been told that I'm a pronatalist, and then I go, yeah, no. And then I've had people go, no, but really though, Dave, even though I'm for pronatalism, you are definitely pronatalist. And it's like, the point is like, that is not what I'm trying to say with castration culture critique or with the natality pill. There's nothing about the natality pill and castration culture critique that necessarily means that you want everyone to have babies. And I don't want everyone to have babies, because I'm really happy actually that the people in these comment sections who are so nasty are weeding themselves out of the gene pool. I'm genuinely like, I don't know, it brings me a little like extra pep in my step, like walking places and thinking about how they're not going to have babies. In fact, they're just going to die and be forgotten. And the genes that, they are the actual current products of end with them. Like, that's fantastic. Like, I think it's really great. This is like schadenfreude, that I actually get from like their misery. And I do think that, look, at the end, if they had babies, maybe they'd change their mind. And maybe if they ever actually held a baby, even if they don't want babies, they'd at least become more like, oh, wow, new life is amazing. And that could actually be transformative for them, and that could be good. But I'm not a missionary. I'm not an evangelical. I'm not out here trying to change people, and I'm not worrying about the state of their souls or anything like that. I'm just genuinely out here saying, I believed a lie, which was that I would never want children. And that was a lie. I could not know that I would someday want children. And that at the point that I realized I do want kids, it came in like a wrecking ball and ruined all these things that I'd been prioritizing. I no longer prioritize them the same way. Certain relationships I'd prioritized, I no longer prioritized. And that kind of thing is just like not something I was prepared for, and it's not something our culture of castration prepares people for. And so, yeah, we get sold the difficulty of actually having children as freedom. They say, actually, yeah, it's very hard, but actually, you're better off not doing it. Hey, actually, the wound is not a wound. And then we all go, oh, yeah, it's so radical, actually, that I'm not having kids. In fact, I never asked to be born. Hey, why? I could never actually expect someone else to consent to that. Like, you don't know what that person's going to go through. You can't take that kind of decision into your hands. Who are you, right? And it's like, we think of this as like a radical ideal, and it's like the long and short of your video is like, well, actually, how convenient to capital, and how convenient to the state. So power in general goes unchecked, and at the end of the day, you end up literally or figuratively castrating yourself.
Less stake in the future is how I ended it, basically.
Less stake in the
like
future.
How what a convenient thing that we have a bunch of subjects that have no real stake in the future because children are such a visceral form of investment relationally, biologically in the future.
Yeah.
And so therefore you've forfeited that
Yeah. And, you know,
as freedom.
And outside of the nasty people in the comment sections who don't want to have kids, there's all kinds of great people who aren't going to have kids because they can't or because it's just not in their cards. And it's like, cool.
That's okay.
You know, more power to you. I'm not out here saying that you're missing out on everything about the good life. You are missing out on one of the essentials. There's still ways to partake in it. There's still ways to be parts of intergenerational community. There's still ways to be a part of the village. There's still a way to do that. The deck is stacked against the parents, and it's more stacked against you since, you know, if that's somebody else's kid. And, you know, what does it mean to even build the kind of community where those parents might even trust you? Sure, yeah, that's going to be an uphill battle, but it's a battle worth fighting. And I'm not saying that you're necessarily excluded from it because you are a dink who likes to play Magic the Gathering at the age of 35 and you've never had somebody who wants to carry your baby. I'm not saying that your life is pathetic and that, no, actually you can be a part of something special still. And honestly, the future of humanity might mean a lot of people just not reproducing, and that's part of some big shift that we're going through and we can't even see where it's going. I'm totally open to that. But instead, people read my personal waking up to the culture of castration and how the deck was actually stacked against me and how I'm like, oh, I'm so relieved I didn't get a vasectomy. Oh, but now it's going to take 7 to 8 years just for me to change my life so that I'm finally able to actually have a kid. They see that as something that's about them.
Yeah.
And they take it personal. They take my personal experience of waking up to how this ideological thing that serves capital obviously is ideological and obviously does serve capital. And then instead of hearing that as it is, which is a personal thing that is then tied to a structural thing that's indisputable, instead of hearing that for what it is, they take it personal and they get really, really upset in the comment sections. And so I want to type, before we finally turn to these comment sections, I want to say the reason I've avoided this discourse is because I see these people as a weird anomaly of an internet thing. I don't see them as indicative of the mainstream or of, you know, 5 billion people on the planet who are having children, who want to have children. But I do see them as a product of basically college brainwashing. K through 12 and into college brainwashing. And they're rationalizing the wound as not being a wound, turning a actual necessity into a virtue, and then they're hoarding that over other people. And I just think, you know what, I don't generally want to engage with it. Antinatalism is going to have its little moment here and there, but it's not really, I think, going to stick around. It doesn't have the ability to keep reproducing itself as an ideology. It can only parasitically steal kids from other cultures that actually can reproduce themselves. And so it's just like, oh, okay. I mean, I'm not too bothered by it. I feel bad for these people to some extent. But like I said, I'm not trying to save anybody. And a lot of the people who find this kind of content, even if they did get baby pilled, it's too late for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything about this society has set them up for failure if they actually did decide to have kids. And that makes me sad. But not even for them so much as just like, yeah, the general culture of it's kind of fucked. But I'm not out here trying to change them. I'm trying to make other people who are like in their younger 20s realize if you don't want kids now, chances are you might change your mind later. Just so you know. You might. You might change your mind later.
Yeah. I remember when I went to get my vasectomy, and the doctor basically told me, like, at my consult, it was like, doctor was basically like, I want you to think about this as permanent. And like, because in all, you know, for all intents and purposes, it's $10,000 versus $1,000. It's not for sure, like, and the longer you go without reversing, the less likely the reversal is to happen.
It's not for sure that it will work, and it's not for sure that it can be reversed.
Which that instantly in my body was like, wait, it's actually permanent? Oh, and that, you know, that wasn't even like a moment of me waking up to, I want kids. It was just like, well, shit, I don't want to get rid of that option for myself because I just don't know. There was some, you know, and so the felt sense, I think, you know, bringing it back to kind of what Decaptured is all about, the felt sense is something that we are so deeply taught to not trust or to kind of snuff out or to like remove, you know, we remove interoception at the youngest age through the fucking filtering of media into children's brains. So like the felt sense is something we don't necessarily have a strong access to and we can't trust because it's not there, or if it is there, we don't know what it is. We call it anxiety, we call it depression, we give it Prozac, whatever it is. So you know, I knew that I felt it in my body, didn't know what it meant, still can't concretely say, yeah, I must want children, but I can say that there is something to be said about that in those 20-year-old something's journeys who might be at a similar place.
Well, with that, we will read quite the comment that I think, like, from this video, yeah, why you think not having kids is freedom. I don't even know. Yeah, Dave, what do you want to say? We're just going to read it. It's like the comment of all comments in one comment.
It is, I think
in 4 different comments, yes.
Yeah, it's so hard to read it too. Does it limit character? Oh, it does.
I think so, which is why there's 4 parts.
I would have much rather. It's like when you're a line cook or you're cooking at a restaurant and it's like, well, just divide the 15 top into 3. And it's like, just put it all in one, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Anyway.
Okay.
But.
So why you think not having kids is freedom? Well, according to Miss Independent 2988 on Instagram.
The numbers help.
It is freedom. You don't understand that because you're a man. You as a man don't have to worry about carrying an entire life inside of you for 9 months and the effects of it. You don't have to worry about the possibility of protein in the urine. You don't have to worry about the possibility of your feet growing 3 sizes. You don't have to worry about your rib cage growing 2 centimeters. You don't have to worry about the possibility of gestational diabetes and it later turning into full-blown diabetes, which means that the woman will be a diabetic for the rest of her natural life. You don't have to worry about the possibility of hemorrhoids years after giving birth. You don't have to worry about a para-vaginal birth, which is where the baby is so big that it creates another hole in addition to the hole that the baby is supposed to come out of, and then comes out of the other hole that it created. And you don't have to worry about gaining 40 to 60 plus extra pounds that never goes away. You don't have to worry about the possibility of growing fat pads in your face and hands. You don't have to worry about the possibility of your hair and teeth falling out. You don't have to worry about losing calcium just from giving birth. You don't have to worry about your blood volume increasing by 50% for 9 months. You don't have to worry about cholestasis of pregnancy. You don't have to worry about morning sickness or HG, which is just very like morning sickness that lasts the entire pregnancy. You don't have to worry about giving up your friendships, your Friday nights, your weekends, your bed, your apartment or your house, your physical, mental, emotional or psychological health being compromised. You don't have to worry about any of that. I want to interject here. As someone who had severe morning sickness, throwing up, had to go get IVs multiple times because I was so dehydrated, who had protein in my urine and got diagnosed with preeclampsia, who was so swollen I was only wearing 1 pair of Birkenstocks for 3 months straight because none of my other shoes fit, who did gain like 60 pounds, which was mostly just water retention. Like, I went through the shit. I had to be induced. The induction didn't work. I had all the things, Pitocin, epidural. It still didn't work. I had a C-section. Yes, people, like, there's real trauma from that, from not getting this birth or this easy pregnancy that you want. That all sucks. Also, 1, we are so privileged to live in a country, despite the flaws of our medical system and how expensive it is, that most women come out the other end of all of that alive. Probably traumatized and probably emotionally, like, have big feelings about it, but alive. And that's not to invalidate all of that, but it's like, none of this means, oh, you're gonna die. It's like, oh yeah, I am heavier. I'm 30 pounds heavier than I was pre-pregnancy. And I have literally the most precious thing because of it. So I don't like the like, oh, well, you had a healthy baby and that's what matters, because no, like birth itself matters, and that's a whole other thing that like we could get into another time of why I wanted a beautiful, magical, natural home birth. But like, thank goodness for the medical system, because all of this stuff is not like this, oh, you don't have to experience that. It's like, what a gift that I got to experience that, and I'm alive on the other end of it. And I have a baby sitting next to me in a little hat that says Dirty Hands Gardening Club, just taking a little nap in the sunshine. Anyways, like this kind of, oh, your body's gonna be destroyed. It's like, so what? I gained 60 pounds for a little bit. Yeah, I puked my guts out for a month, pretty much. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah. But that's like kind of what happens. Like, it's not the end of the world. There are serious things, and those are scary, but like, thank goodness for the medical system when there are scary things.
And not to minimize it, if I were to reply, because I don't think I have the cognitive faculty to actually reply, so maybe I'll just say a couple things. One of those things is, who's to say you're the only one with hemorrhoids?
Yeah, also.
And also, I think my other just kind of flippant response is, well, I mean, yeah, I don't have to, but like evolution did a pretty good job of making sure you're going to be okay too. And if not, the medical system, like you say, you know, it's like, well, so, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't do that to you. That's not what I did.
So anyways, that first part, I was like, like half this stuff happened to me. Like that feels insulting.
And to
be like, it's like, oh, you're going to go, you don't have to go through all this terrible, terrible stuff. It's like, well, a lot of women go through it, and it's not that terrible most of it. Like, it's terrible. In the moment, it can be terrible.
For sure,
But anyways.
And especially, too, to come from you who experienced most of those things that she's talking about, and coming out at the other end of it and being like, yeah, but it was worth it.
It was kind of worth it,
Like, well, that, who better to respond
Julian,
to that
it was totally
than you?
Worth it.
You know?
Anyways, that part, I was like, geez, Louise. Part 1 of comment 1 of 4. Let's see.
I kind of glossed over these 4, so I was...
No, this is gold, man. We gotta read this.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah.
Gold.
I'm glad we're doing it, because otherwise it would have stayed gloss.
No, I could not read it without Anne, because it's just like, I start reading this, and I'm just like, oh my God, this condescending person who thinks that she just invented feminism. It's like, oh, you've never thought about this clearly. And then just the part, like, also, like the assumption that a man doesn't worry about these things. It's like, well, it turns out if you ever actually found love in your life, then you would actually have a person who is worried
who
with you.
did in fact worry. It can confirm Dave, as a man, did in fact worry about many of these things for me and with me as I was experiencing
incapable
them.
Actually, as a man.
This is like telling a woman, you'll never worry about being shot on the front lines after spending weeks being in trenches, being shelled at by the enemy forces. And then it's just like, you think that women didn't worry for their men on the front line? So it's the same reversal,
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Anyhow. As a man.
Oh, is it number 2 start like that?
No,
too?
but I'm just reminding us that this is all as a man.
Mm-hmm. This is the same. Okay.
You don't have to worry about being mom shamed because you couldn't or chose not to breastfeed. You're not going to get called lazy if the baby has a problem latching on you and you give up after 6 months. You don't have to be mom shamed because you don't pick the baby up every time they cry. You don't have to wake up with that child at 3 o'clock in the morning to change diapers or breastfeed them or make bottles. You don't have to give up your education or your career to raise a child. You're not expected to stay home with a child for an entire year because that's what society expects the woman to do. You're not going to be criticized if you go back to work 6 months after giving birth either because you can't afford to stay home or you don't want to stay home. You are not expected to cook and clean. You are not told that because you're a stay-at-home mom, the house should be spotlessly clean when her husband or boyfriend comes home because she's been home all day and she's not doing anything. You can't put being a stay-at-home mom on a resume. You as a man still get to go on a guy's trip. You don't as a man get to walk away if you choose to, because married or not, once a woman has a baby, that baby is hers. Because a man can choose not to sign a birth certificate, not to pay child support, sign away his rights in some states, not attend the birthing class, not attend the parenting class, never called that child on Christmas, their birthday, Easter, Thanksgiving, and Halloween, never pick a child up from school, never take the child to school, not teach the child how to crawl,
This is one
walk,
sentence.
talk, roll over. A man can tell his wife or girlfriend he's going to go get a gallon of milk and never come back, and she's still expected to raise that child by herself 24/7, 365, 1252. When a couple breaks up or gets a divorce, a majority of the time the child goes with the mother, full custody. End of a sentence. The father gets visitation. If he wants to show up, he can, but if he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. But that woman, no matter what she has going on in her life, is still expected to take care of that child. Why should women subject themselves to that if they don't want to? Why should a woman like myself, who does not want children and has never had them, subject myself to having to raise a child that I never wanted to begin with by myself? Instead of criticizing women who don't want to have children, you need to criticize men who beg women to have children without knowing whether or not those women genuinely want children, and they leave those women to raise children that they may not have even wanted by themselves. That's who you need to be criticizing, because parental regret is a thing. Would you rather for a woman who has no desire to have children to have them anyway, thinking it's going to keep the man, and then when the man leaves anyway, she's stuck with his child that she didn't want? Are you aware that 1 in 33 babies is born with a birth defect each year? Are you aware that 1 in 68 children in the U.S. is diagnosed with autism? Are you aware that autism has 3 levels? Are you also aware that upon diagnosis, 81% of fathers leave and only 19% of them stay? So are you suggesting that even though I have no desire to have children, I should have one anyway? And if the child tests positive for autism before birth, I'm supposed to keep the child? And if the father leaves, I'm supposed to raise this child by myself 24/7, 365, 1252, probably for the rest of their life, even though I never wanted that responsibility to begin with? Is that what you're suggesting that I am, that women like myself don't want to have children to do? Do you know the resentment that would cause toward that child? Ew. Gross. Sorry, a dead bug just fell on me. Farm life. See, where in this long sentence was I?
Oh.
Do you know the resentment that would cause toward that child? Are you aware that when you do things out of obligation, resentment starts to form? Are you aware that according to a study conducted by Brown University, 500 children on average each year are killed by their parents, and 72% of those children are 6 years old or younger? How much are you willing to get that old 500 of those women and men, if men were involved in the study, didn't want children to begin with, but they let society tell them what to do with their money, their time, their energy, and their bodies? That's what you need to think about before criticizing people that don't want to have children. You need to think about how forcing parenthood on people like myself who really have no desire to take on that responsibility, think about how that affects the child. Children deserve to be born to people who genuinely want them. Hey, buddy, I'm almost done. Children deserve to be conceived in love, but not everyone wants the 24/7, 365, 1252 lifetime responsibility of a child. Are you aware that it costs $300,000 to raise a neurotypical child to the age of 18, and that does not include college? If it costs that much to raise a child that doesn't have any issues, how much do you think it would cost to raise a child or children that have multiple issues? Think about how long and hard. Think about that long and hard before criticizing people that don't want to have kids. If you care so much, why don't you go with that, one of those 250 million children in the foster care system, and spend your hard-earned $300,000 to raise them for the next 18 years? And if you're not going to do that, then do me a favor and shut the fuck up. And scene.
That was beautiful. There were moments of rage that I felt towards you as if it were you. And I know it's not.
Oh,
but like,
poor,
whoa!
Poor Miss Independent.
You know, part of being so independent, I think, it's like First of all, God, it sounds like there's a lot of trauma that's not about me at all whatsoever.
Yeah, sounds like some very specific scenario there.
Somebody's daddy went out for milk one day and never came back.
And that's not about me. Also, how presumptuous. Like, are you aware? Like, yeah, I don't think I like most of the things you're talking about either.
Yeah.
Like, you say that, I'm like, yeah, gosh, that's bad.
Are you aware 500 kids are killed every year?
What?
Shit, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, like, dang.
But then it was, just like, so you're telling me I need to have a kid, even if I don't want a kid, and I'm going to resent that kid. And it's like, I didn't tell you to have a kid.
That is the perfect representation of the whole, if we could just sum it all up, that is her.
Yeah.
And like, it could have been so much more concise, I'm sure.
But girl had to get it out of her system.
Yeah.
Apparently.
It wasn't about me.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with what you said.
I think she probably read the caption, didn't even watch the video.
That's usually what it is. And you can
like,
look at this stuff too. You can see, like, it's like the watch time. It's like, 7 seconds. It's like, oh, cool. So you didn't, no wonder. It's, man, hearing that is just, that's a lot.
Buddy.
There's a lot going on.
Don't worry, Julian. I wanted you. I wanted you.
Julian.
Yeah, so I guess
Thank you, Anne, for that poignant reading.
yeah, and I might
Wow.
edit this just to put that at the beginning, or at least even just part of it.
Well, yeah, because we got to think about hooks, right?
Yeah, we gotta hook people.
We got hooks.
Exactly.
My next video coming out talks about how your children aren't special.
Yeah. Perfect.
And it has nothing to do with that, almost.
Right.
It's beautiful.
And it's the internet, that's the thing.
That's what
And
you
it's
gotta
like,
do.
Well, she wanted to say all this stuff, and so she did. She used this as her opportunity to say all this stuff, and it's like, cool. I'm glad that you got that off of your chest, and there's I don't know, several layers to it, but one of the big things that I keep thinking about is how, I went to her profile and took a look at her, and she looks not healthy or very well loved, and this is, I wrote a chapter in castration culture called female incels, and I know there's just so many spicy. Yeah, all sex is gay now is one of the chapters. Relationships aren't colonized enough. Actually, is one of the chapters. There's a lot of spicy chapters in that book.
Just reactionary, subversive hook factor at
Yes,
you, huh?
100%.
Wow.
100%.
This
yeah.
guy, all right.
Yeah, no, 100%. But anyway,
Okay.
but there is such a thing as a woman incel, and it's not that she's incapable of getting laid, because there's no such thing as a woman incapable of getting laid, because there's a guy who has a fetish or a kink for anything. You could be,
Guys have some things.
Oh yeah, no, it's just like literally anything you got, there's a guy for you. They're probably not a guy you want to be with. He's probably
the one that's gonna go get milk.
Yeah, he's probably gonna go get milk. And that's a reason to be sad. It's a reason to be bitter, to be resentful. The whole culture is cultivating a kind of male who's not going to stick around for you. And that's a real problem. And no amount of pronatalists telling you that you should have babies and commit to a man is going to solve the culture of absentee fathers, of man children who are going to run out on you. She's 100% on all of that.
Yeah.
But the bigger issue is like, she's buying into an ideology that makes her less lovable. And this is the thing about incels, is like, you take a person who's like a bit of a mouth breathing, chinless or jawlineless, internet, porn and video game addicted, 20 something who can't get laid. And the whole culture is saying that you're worthless if you can't get laid. And so he feels bad about himself. And so he finds himself in a community of other people who are saying, yes, not only should you feel bad about yourself, but also the whole culture is to blame for the fact that you're not getting laid. And then, of course, they spiral out because they're all getting each other off on this resentment. And that's one of the big problems with the internet, is that it does kind of become like this, a grievance, the cybernetic feedback loop of grievance and identification. And I don't want to be a part of that. And when I think about, like, oh, we're getting all these comments now from anti-natalists like they're part of that. Yeah, but so is the pronatalist scene. It's also like that. And I know that there are people who think that the stuff that we're saying about dinks and whatnot is like, oh, it's a new culture war resentment factory, and that's what castration culture critique is ultimately going to amount to. That's not what I'm trying to do with it. And if a little bit of that comes through, it's like I'm miffed that I spent so long being a part of the liberal Rumspringa and never actually thinking, oh, this does serve all of the things that I'm against.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a little upset that that went over on me.
Yeah.
And I'm also upset when I get gaslit by people who want to act like it's freedom and like the height of human flourishing and excellence to turn their sort of necessary situation of not being able to find commitment, love, or anything worth binding or sacrificing to or for into a virtue. And it's just like, I'm not saying like someone like her is like inherently unlovable. I'm saying that she's bought into an ideology that's going to make it an even more uphill battle.
Yeah.
And that the people who are selling her that ideology suck. And, you know, now she's selling it. And it's like a person who's selling fentanyl. It's like, well, you are a victim, but you're also a perpetrator now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're both now.
And it does the thing that really well isolates us further from each other, which is, I mean, like, everything was, are you aware of this, as a man who made a video that really has nothing to do with what I'm saying right now? Like, it's just, there's so much distance now between her and I, or, you know, us and her. Like, it's...
And it's like, actually, you were aware of literally all these things.
Yeah.
Because probably
and
for
I
a
don't
decade
like
you were
of them.
preaching it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
truly.
not
No,
even
yeah.
preaching, but like to a certain extent, it's like still true. It's like, we're not these guys who are incapable of realizing that it's an incredible sacrifice.
Uh-huh.
And being a parent is a sacrifice that comes down harder on the woman.
Yes.
We're aware.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, we read Caliban and the Witch.
Yeah. Yeah. So I
Which
think
is
we'll
brilliant,
let
by the way.
the
I really
woman
like that
here actually have the last word, and so I'll actually turn the camera here at this point.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
the last thing I want is it to be presumed that I'm unaware of the woman's perspective, or unwilling, or disinterested.
Right.
Right? We can't perform that, because that's been the whole presumption this whole time. Most of it has been that, really, too, which is unfortunate, because it's like, why do you have to, why is that where it has to go? It has to be, well, you're a man saying anything remotely pro-kid, and therefore you have no idea at all, which, granted, I don't have any idea, experientially speaking, but I'm very aware.
Yeah.
And I'm not okay with it either.
Maybe
And
to a fault.
We're
like
mad at
you've-
the same things, I think, and we're just looking at it differently.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah, we've been aware.
yeah. I already did that, man. Now I'm deconstructing again. Okay?
Yeah.
Double deconstruction.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh.
It's all you.
All right, and then here's the microphone for Anne.
Who went through all the stuff, who had the preeclampsia and the C-section,
The protein in the urine.
protein in the urine, and the swollen feet and face and hands. My wedding ring still doesn't fit. I'm a single lady over here is what I look like, who wakes up at 3 a.m. to feed the baby. Like, I don't know. I think it's really sad that it's all perceived by a certain person with a certain ideology as such a negative thing. Whether or not you want to have kids, and maybe I wouldn't say like I'm pro-natal in the sense, oh yeah, I think everyone should have kids. Like, I'm pro-kid. Like, I'm pro this is awesome, and you should be allowed to think this is awesome and not feel like I haven't felt these, like, I don't feel resentful about having to feed him around the clock because I'm choosing to just exclusively breastfeed kind of when he wants for now. I don't feel resentful about what my body went through and the fact that I'm like have a scar on my body. Like, I don't feel resentful about any of it. I think on the one hand, like we need a culture that uplifts this experience, that goes, yeah, it was fucking badass what I went through, and then that can create kind of more of a positive postpartum experience, because I see a lot of content that's just like, oh, postpartum's so hard. People call it the newborn trenches, and I think like I'm just lucky that I have an amazing husband and I haven't had to like immediately go back to some job outside of
Incredibly lucky, yeah.
my property. So like in that sense, like I'm privileged in a lot of ways that I get to experience this postpartum in the way that I do. But even then, there's like all this mommy content that wants you to feel negative about the experience, I think. So on the one hand, it's just like I want a culture that allows this time to be joyful, that celebrates it. And on the other hand, I think I'm pro-natal in the sense that, yeah, I think all the like, or pro-kid in the sense that all this hate towards kids, or even just like, oh yeah, kids are kind of annoying. Yeah, I don't like kids. I like my friends' kids, kinda. And I want my wedding to be totally child-free because kids are annoying. It's like, okay, well then who's not gonna come to your wedding? It's gonna be all your friends that do have kids, and they don't get to, like, just this, yeah, in general, like, anti-child culture and pro, like, oh yeah, me traveling to Europe and spending $50,000 on Magic the Gathering cards or concerts is just as valid and equal of a choice as raising a human for the future and it's staking myself in the future. Those are not equally, like,
Not the same.
they're not the same choices. Go to your concerts, go on your European vacation, live your best girl boss independent life. But the like hatred and disdain and, oh, I could never do that. Oh, you're the body horror. It's like, shut up. Like we need to be more pro-family and pro-kid. And yeah, so a society that is selling you anti-family life, anti-childhood as liberation. It's like, cool, do it. I don't care. But don't, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. And I'm tired of it.
Well, I want to ask you a question on the way out here.
Yeah.
Because I didn't bring up socioanalysis at all, but that has been my big sort of thing to keep coming back to, especially recently. And, you know, the impulse is to instantly say, well, there's trauma involved. Her dad must have been the one who went out for milk and didn't come back, because she's getting a little too particular, right? She's giving, oh, hey, buddy.
Hi.
Did you lose your latch?
You're gonna have to go to the bathroom.
Uh-oh.
Ah.
The point is though, socioanalytically, you have to also look at the symbolic capital that is paying out to people. There's an actual symbolic capital that to be won by saying the things that she's saying. There are people here to yes girl and clap them on. And the thing is you get people of privilege who are probably going to eventually get natality pilled and have their own kids, applauding somebody who's in a worse situation, who's probably coming from dysfunction, who's probably got some stuff to work out, who's instead buying into an ideology that villainizes and otherizes an entire half of the species, while at the same time getting, the ideology she's promulgating, that she's obviously spent a lot of time thinking about, that she's being applauded to think about, encouraged to think about by the PMC today, is one that will undermine her, and that she won't be able to come back from in time once she's actually natality pilled. Whereas the people who are doing the applauding, if they do come from that relative privilege, they're going to be able to be just fine and change their mind eventually. And so it's just like punk rock. It's like, oh, well, for the upper middle class kid who's punk rock, enjoy your liberal rum spring. At the point that you're done, you can go work at the firm, and everyone else is going to overdose and end up homeless. And there is no coming back from it. And so, like, the ceremony of return for the liberal Rem Spring is always the long march through the institutions and the eventually settling down, which is not possible for the people that it's supposedly supporting, or, we're supposedly doing this in the name of the underclass. Well, this is actually helping the underclass dig itself a deeper grave. And so the socioanalysis part is just to always bring it back to this. Why is there symbolic capital for this? Why is there so much institutional support and celebrity support and yes girl applause for the person who says, actually, I regret having a child. And actually, I'm so glad that I got the divorce. And actually, I'm never going to have children. And everyone's like, oh, yes, you do you. Oh, you're so free.
Is that a question?
Yeah. Answer
Why?
And that's capture.
it. That's capture.
Because we're all captured. Mic drop. Okay, drop on the baby.
There we go.
Peg him in the forehead.
It's the field mic. You can throw it on the ground if you want.
I hit my friend's daughter right in the face with a pine cone the other day by accident. I threw it right at her.
They were
I thought it was
playing.
gonna fly like way. I didn't think it was even gonna come close to her, and instead it whacked her right in the, right here.
And
part
we
of life.
all, and her mom, we were like laughing, kind of trying not to laugh. She was fine. She didn't cry. She was just kind of like.
Good for her.
And then we asked her mom, and then it was fine, and was like, let's keep playing, because they were like stick fighting, and it was
I love that.
It was kind of funny.
That's beautiful. You know, sometimes you get hit by pine cones, and that's what life
And that's
kind of is. A lot of pine cones in the face, and what we do with that, Master Bruce.
Would
We're going to pick ourselves up again, Master Bruce.
Would it be really funny if the last thing I did in this video was punch you in the face?
go
It
get a
would
pine
be
cone and
perfect
throw it in
symbolic
his
capital.
face.
I won't do it.
Because we're selling this right now.
I'm not gonna do it.
Hi, Ginger. You know what would be even more funny is if Daisy jumps up and if
And
Ginger
hit your
jumps
balls.
up. Yeah, it's part of it, you know. Pine cones.
Ginger, you're a
Balls.
good dog.
Yes, you're very
Got
nice.
All of
good
these dogs
critters.
and cats
Oh, beautiful.
and critters are just so precious. There's so much natality here at the farm.
I
this
wouldn't
time
call
of
them
year.
comrades per se, but
No. Hey, that's what I needed at the time to get over my
no,
fear
I
of
love it.
spiders.
I'm
and
fully
it's
happy.
amazing.
Sometimes we need to go through it to come out of it.
Yeah.
You know what? No, the spirit of it's precious. All right, stay.
And there's a part of me that agrees from an ecological standpoint that they're comrades.
Well, we're in the same thing in the sense of
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah.
Stay, Daisy.
We're all in this together.
That was a wreck. This is not
Us and the dogs. And the cats.
Daisy,
And
here.
the spiders.
Sit down. Stay. Stay. No, don't move. Don't move an ounce. Go.
And everything
if
other
she-
than non-native lawns.
If she like runs forward, then she can kick her teeth out. Is the issue. So you
Yeah, you don't want to kick her teeth
gotta
out.
work on that.
Oh
stay.
gosh.
She already has a propensity for losing teeth, I presume, given her activity level.
You think
Her
so?
little rodent heart. You know, look at her. She's just always going. She's just, I gotta move. What if I move more?
You think she loses teeth as a result of it?
Well, just like, you know, being reckless. Recklessness,
Daisy.
right?
Stay. Hey. Okay. All right.